Some days, man, I wake up and I'm just like, feels good to be a gangster. The 49's an iconic Ford pickup truck. Everybody loves these.
The next step is building all the front suspension.
We got that new independent rear suspension.
Placement of that bag is super critical. How far up and how far down is going to be. You got to make that 49 Ford real low. I'm going to try to break the world record of doing the most donuts. What better car than a new Mustang? The shorter the wheelbase, the faster you're going to get around that tight circle.
So we got to lower this thing, cold air intake, exhaust, wheels, tires, and then we're gonna wrap this thing up.
Oh, man. Guinness, get my plaque ready.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas metal.
What's happening?
Hey, Bill. How you doing, man?
Good morning.
Hey, I appreciate you guys coming out.
Well, we're glad to be here.
You know, I had this crazy idea of breaking a world record of doing the most donuts in a car, and immediately I think about you guys. Since I was little, I've always had a thing for going fast and doing burnouts and donuts. Recently, I had a real big idea. What would it take to set the world record for doing donuts? It's currently 280 in a row.
You know, Bill, one of the things that we remember so vividly is the project that you did for us about 5 years ago. You built the Boots for Troops truck. You remember that truck?
Oh, for sure.
And it was big, and it was bad, and it made a statement. It positively impacted so many active duty military veterans. We couldn't wait to get with you again and do something else.
You've always helped me out, and of course, I see you're gonna help me out one more time, right?
And we're glad you thought of us.
You know, I needed a car with a super short wheelbase with a lot of power.
It's the 2023 Ford Mustang GT. It has the 5.0 V8 motor in it.
Gotta have it.
Yeah, and manual transmission is what we've got here, so I hope that works for you.
I mean, this is perfect, but you know I'm gonna do a couple things to it, right?
We expected nothing less.
All right, out with it, Bill.
You know, one of the most important things for trying to break the world record is the wheel and tire combo. You know, so we're definitely gonna change these to a super light wheel, getting that right RPM with the right wheel speed and the right tire is what this is all about.
Well, what a more perfect car, American muscle car. And it needs to sound like a muscle car. Do you have any plans on changing the sound?
Oh, man, most definitely we're going to change the exhaust on it. We got to get that tone right. You know, when it's spinning around, we want it to not only look good, it's got to sound good.
Absolutely.
And, you know, not just wheels and tires, not just exhaust. We're going to do an air intake under the hood so we get a little bit more fresh air into the engine, a little faster, right?
Yeah, sure.
You know, but that's not the only thing. We got to make it look good. So we'll wrap it, you know, with our sponsors and just make it look really, really cool and just let everybody know, you know, what we're doing with the car. So after this is all done, looking good, world record is broken, hopefully. What are you guys gonna do with it?
We're gonna put it on the showroom, let the public be able to come out and see a world record breaking car.
We're gonna break this record.
I know you will.
We're gonna do it. I appreciate you
Yeah.
guys, man. Thank
all
you very
yours.
much. It's on your insurance, right?
No, it's yours.
Good try. Have fun with it, Bill.
Yes, we're gonna make it happen.
See you later.
Ever since I had my driver's license, I'm doing donuts in a car. So over the years, I've gotten pretty good at it. You know, had a lot of practice in a lot of different cars. And I was like, man, I wonder what the world record is on doing donuts in a car. So a quick internet search. The record right now is like 280. And it's in some other country, and it's been held for the last 10 years or so. What better car to break this record in than a new Mustang? The key to this is gonna be the right tire, the right RPM, and the right wheelbase. The shorter the wheelbase, the faster you're gonna get around that tight circle. And having that right surface. You know, I can't have rough concrete or rough asphalt, anything like that. It's gonna tear the tire up prematurely. We get to 269 revolutions and all of a sudden a tire blows out, it's all over. It's gonna be super difficult to hold this car in a tight circle for 300 plus revolutions. I mean, your body's gonna get fatigued, you're gonna get tired, you're gonna get dizzy. There's a lot fighting against this. You know, the more and more people I talk to, the more I talk about it, the more people wanna help out. The world record is gonna be set right here in Houston, Texas.
What's this for?
Well, it isn't mine, and it isn't a customer's. Man, I've had this crazy idea for a while. I've always wanted to have a world record. So I've been thinking, I want to try to break the world record of doing the most donuts.
Oh, man, that's a good one.
How many is it?
The record right now is like 280, so we're gonna go for 300.
Jeez, dude.
Planet Ford was happy enough to help. I told him my crazy idea. You know, I called John Sentner over there. He's like, man, I'd love to help. So he's letting me borrow this brand new Mustang 5.0 6-speed.
That's so cool, dude.
This is gonna be key to just getting the RPMs just right, the right tires. All those conditions have to be perfect to have that longevity of getting 300 donuts out of a set of tires. But I don't want to just do it in a stock car.
Yeah.
That's not
You
your
gotta
style.
make the car look cool too, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So there's a few things I want to do to it. You know, of course, we got to lower it.
Yeah.
You know, tires are definitely going to be key to making this whole project happen.
So you can't run these stock tires. We got to do something.
Definitely not.
Something that don't get too hot and blow apart in
Melt
10
off.
minutes. Yeah.
Because, you know, who's driving?
Yeah, I've been down that road a few times,
That's a
man.
lot of donuts, man. That's a lot of spinning.
Not only that, of course, we had to have the cold air intake. We got to get that air in quicker.
That's right.
Of course, we got to get the air out quicker. So we're going to do exhaust also.
Okay.
And just to give it even more horsepower, we're going to throw a spoiler on the back.
Give it a little style, huh?
Yeah, just to give it a little extra, right? We're going to come up with a really cool wrap it. After this record is broken, they're going to be putting it back on their showroom floor where it's going to be looking nice and pretty, and somebody's going to buy this thing. When you walk in the dealership, you know what that car did.
Yeah. And then somebody else will pick this up one day. Maybe they'll set another record.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
They
Never
beat
know.
my record.
No, somebody's out there.
Yeah.
They better come on with it.
Yeah.
That sounds like a challenge.
Yeah. So we got to lower this thing, cold air intake, exhaust, wheels, tires. Got to add the horsepower with the spoiler, right?
Yeah.
And then we're going to wrap this thing up. Well, dude, let's get on so we can start spinning.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, we got to get rid of all this stock stuff. First thing is we got to get the stance right. It can't leave this shop with this stock stance, so first thing is go ahead and pull the pullovers, get the springs out, swap springs, get that nice ride height Bill's looking for, see how it settles. Okay, so got our first strut off right now, and what we're gonna be doing this one is we're gonna be replacing the spring on both of them. It's gonna be more of a compact spring. It's gonna get that performance out of the suspension that we really want. So you can definitely see the difference in these two springs. You know, this is our stock spring. This is our aftermarket spring. You know, this is gonna definitely lower the suspension. This one right here is gonna be more sturdy. It's just gonna be an overall better ride for the car. Just need to put the spring compressors on there, put our cap right back on, do the other side. Okay, so we got all the springs out and these springs in. You can see it's kind of shorting the strut up. Well, that's gonna give us a lower ride height right here. Oh, got the front done? Now go ahead and move on to the back. In the rear, we have independent suspension, so, you know, it's engineered to not have a strut right here. So in the back right here, we've got to take a lot more stuff apart to go ahead and get that spring out.
We're just gonna drop the exhaust right now. That way we can drop our subframe, and then we'll get our spring out a lot easier. Yeah, good job, Jamie. You're so smart.
There we go. Okay, so we got the springs in now. Next thing is go ahead and complete putting our subframe in by putting our bushings in, our aluminum bushings and our polymer bushings. It's really starting to come together. You know, the front wasn't nothing, the rear was a little bit more involved, but everything's tight, everything's good.
Seems a little bit more stout now. Like it's gonna do what it's supposed to do now.
I've been talking to a lot of drift car drivers about the world record attempt for the most donuts. Cool. And to get our 23 Mustang to spin right, we're gonna need the right amount of power. So not too much, but definitely not too little. So we're gonna install the new air intake system.
Basically, your cold air intake is, you know, this is somewhat restricted. So we've got a cold air intake that allows more air to be put into the motor. So more air, more fuel, so we're gonna have more exhaust. That's gonna make more ponies. So we're gonna remove this cover so we can get our plenum off and get our fresh air intake on here.
Come out like that.
You can see just by looking in depth, you have a bigger fresh air inlet than what is stock. So, I mean, you're just getting more air in. This one's restricted by a filter right here. If you look inside of it, I mean, that's two different worlds right there. You know, this is fun. Stock. Oh, we're gonna upgrade.
Jamie throw on our nice liner, and we can throw this filter on, and that's that.
Now when Bill goes out and does all those donuts, gonna have plenty of air, plenty of smoke, plenty of tire burning. That's exactly what he needs.
Uh-oh.
You know what that means.
Yeah.
What y'all doing? Why y'all sitting so close together?
It's cold outside.
It's cold.
Hey, on the 49 Ford, we're off to a really good start, but that's all we got is a start right now. It's been just a ton of work, but man, we're just getting started on this.
It's gonna be great.
You know, we got it in the shop, built a brand new frame, front to back, all rectangle tubing. We're not gonna have any flex out of that.
Nice.
You know, mounted the independent rear suspension on the new frame. You know, the customer brought in that old 2020 5.0 Coyote. We got that all mounted up in the new frame. Firewall all cut out. Jamie's built a new firewall for it. Got the cab back from Blast. It was a little better than I thought it was gonna be, actually.
Not the cheese grater.
Yeah, it was still a little bit of metal there. So that's where we're at right now, right? You know, the next step is building all the front suspension. So we're gonna build new upper, lower control arms. Of course, place the bag in there. Gotta make that 49 Ford real low.
That front end needs to be on the ground.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna need your help with spindles, brakes, get all that coming in.
So with the rear, we got that new independent rear suspension. So how are we gonna set that up?
You know, placement of that bag is super critical. How far up and how far down it's gonna be so that center shaft doesn't bind up on itself. After that, building the bed totally from scratch, and then we're gonna build the bed floor from scratch also. And I want the center of the bed floor to raise up so you can see all those man hours and where they went. So we're gonna need a super nice tanks, compressors, all that's gonna be exposed. So we want the best stuff there.
We'll get everything set up.
Hell yeah.
Well, I'm just glad that we only have to order the parts. They either gotta do all the...
I know, speaking of that, you need to get back to work.
Man, I know you're gonna do a good job.
I'll attempt to do it.
The 49's an iconic Ford pickup truck. Everybody loves these. A lot of people like the front ends and they like the beds. You know, they're a little bit different than the Chevys. This is a cool looking truck. Got a good platform. They're doing some awesome stuff so far, so this will be a cool one. All right, so we're gonna start on the front suspension now. Got the wheel thrown up here on the transmission stand. I can adjust it. Just like every other suspension we do, I'm just gonna get it up to ride height, make sure I got clearance whenever I turn, it doesn't hit anything, it's centered in the wheel well. See what it looks like when it's gonna be laid out on the ground. All right, yeah. Oh, I can even come down some. We got plenty of room. I can still roll the wheels. So now I take this half by half, and I can attach it here to here. So this bushing sleeve right here to the lower ball joint cup. I'm gonna make me a mock-up lower control arm. So using this, I can get my point, I can get everything that I need to be able to take this to the table to transfer all my measurements and all my points. So there's our jiggy jig Jiggersons. We're gonna get jiggy with it. Now we got this tacked into place. I can take some measurements, go clean some pipe, cut it, and bend it, come back here and fit it on. So instead of doing straight pipe or anything like that, we're gonna have to put a step in our control arm. So it's gonna go flat and then kick up. That way, whenever it's fully inflated, the bag isn't fully stretched out all the way and it's a little bit more relaxed. Then it'll also make this thing ride that much better. I have to go try it, because I don't know how far I gotta bend. What? Perfect. How did I do that? Some days, man, I wake up and I'm just like, feels good to be a gangster. So I got my template made up for our bag plate for the center of our lower control arm. Go give this to Jesse. He'll cut me 2 of these out. While he's doing that, I can start making my other control arm. Thanks so much, dude.
We're gonna have to bend it up?
Yeah. Just have to break it right there. Yeah, 3/8 is perfect, damn. All right, so got the driver's side done. I'm gonna do the exact same thing on my jig to the passenger side, make 2 of them, weld them all out, and then we can start doing all the rest of our suspension work on the truck.
Now that Ryan's finished up the lower control arms on the 49 Ford, he's moving on to the uppers.
So we got our control arms done. I got a ball joint tacked into the driver's side. Take it over there and mock this up. And then we can get a measurement for our upper control arms. Man, that alternator is in the way, man. Dude, that's gonna be the smallest arm ever. We build a ton of arms here for just about everything, and a lot of those times it doesn't work out. Just like this case right here, I'm going through, you know, trial and tribulation. So I knew these were laying over there. I'd seen them before. They're gonna clear. I just need to take like 2 or 3 inches off of them, which is way easier to take away than it is to add. So I think I might luck out on this one. Only 1 inch, not bad. Not bad, Chad. Now I got this all traced out, can mirror it, that way I can make 2 of them the same. What you do to one side, you gotta do the other. Got my lines made. I can put that there, tag it straight to this piece. I already got these pieces made for the arms. All I gotta do is just figure that out. Be good to start making our second arm. It's real close, but we gotta make a few changes to the stuff we have here. So the frame, we're gonna have to notch it for, you know, all of our lift that we're gonna get. And then the header, we're gonna have to just take out this front tube here and make a 45 and go up straight. So you gotta sacrifice those few little things, a little bit extra work, but it saves a bunch of time using these control arms rather than making a whole new set. And we'd probably still get into that anyway. And then we can start making the upper tabs for the control arms. What I like to do with these shackles here, we'll take these and I can bolt them on there and tack it to the frame where I think it needs to be just by taking some measurements. Then I can cycle everything as if it were, you know, in motion if it was rolling down the road. It's not rubbing anymore now. Perfect. All right, so I got my 3 templates. I can use this one for the front too, but these, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to make individually for both sides. So I'm gonna lay all these out, and I can just knock them all down into smaller pieces. Take it over to the bandsaw and get these ones I can't get with the shear, and then spend some time with a grinder. Give it a good punch there. Buddy old pal. All right, I think we're ready to tack. Tack at that. All right, so I got my tabs tacked in. Mounts are good. The travel's right, just like we did on the mock-up. Everything is good. We could just go start working on the other side, but I want to build out this whole entire side first, and I'll just take all my templates and then knock every single thing out at one time. So I'm gonna start on bag mounts now and shock mount, and once that's done, we'll have our entire driver's side done.
We've almost finished building out the 23 Ford Mustang for that test run. First, Jamie and Ryan are gonna add that new performance exhaust. We'll be able to get more airflow and even more power.
It's going to be loud, raspy, it's gonna have cutouts. It's gonna be perfect for what we're gonna throw at it. It's gonna sound awesome, and it'll look good too. This is like one of the best looking exhausts I've ever seen. Make them go down level. That actually looks better like that. One step closer. Burning the tires off this thing. Man, dude.
It's a really nice exhaust for this car. The bends,
It looks
the
slick,
beat bands, everything is 100%
Polished.
awesome on this car.
Man, we just have to mount the wheels and tires. We're done. Look at that.
Need old 555s, man.
So those are them, huh? Apparently these things aren't gonna get too hot, huh? We'll see about that.
Man, this thing looks real good. It's got that stance, that aggressive stance Bill always likes. I mean, this thing is ready to hammer.
And the tires too, man. I'm glad that he recommended those because they look awesome. And if they're gonna hold up to what he's gonna do to it, man, that's even better. I'm eager to see how it sounds out there.
Yeah.
You wanna take it out?
Yep. The guys at the shop got the 23 Mustang sitting right and looking good, and we added that spoiler. So before we go any farther, I want to see what the car is actually going to do. There's some stipulations about breaking the donut world record. You only have 3 times the length of the car. So we have a super tight circle to stay within. All right, what we need is 24 feet. So I got my son Corbin out here today. We're laying out that circle to see exactly how big that diameter is and how much room I got to stay within. My buddy Marcos did a great job pouring me a super slick piece of concrete, so I think that's going to be critical in this whole journey. We got 100 times around. You down?
Yeah, let's go.
Today I'm going to shoot for 100 just to kind of gauge tire wear, to see where we're at with everything, but I'm definitely going to beat that world record. Is this contributing to delinquency of a minor?
No.
All right, you ready? Let's see what's up.
Yeah.
At first, it's super simple to stay in this circle. How many?
31.
It's real cool. Have your son sit beside you doing a lot of donuts. How many?
54.
As time goes on, that tight circle is getting just a little more sticky.
I'm excited to see the tires after this.
Staying in that circle is getting a lot harder the longer it goes. How many?
90.
You have to use more RPMs to get it to stay in that tight circle. Tires are very sticky. I'm dizzy. Are you dizzy? What? Oh, man. Man, it's gonna be a little challenging. I mean, that was 100 times right now. The circle got really sticky, you know, getting those RPMs dialed in. You get a little dizzy in there and you get a little motion sickness. So, you know, this is gonna be quite a challenge to do that 300 times.
At first, it was really easy, but towards the end, it gets really hard. You get very nauseous during the ride.
And also, you know, I hit one of the cones out there. You know, if this were for real, I'd have to start over. That wouldn't count. I'm gonna go back to the shop, figure out a couple things, and when I come back, it's on. Guinness, get my plaque ready. We're most of the way through the front suspension on the 49 Ford. Next up, some bag mounts.
So normally when we set the bag brackets up, we like to center everything in the center of the control arm. But the upper control arm is going over here. It's so far over to the right, and that's usually where I put my shock. So I'm not gonna have any shock room over here on the right side of this arm. But I also have a tie rod and my steering from my rack over here that's on this side. I wanna put a shock in this area somewhere. So I'm gonna offset the bag bracket and the bag and everything over as far over to this side of the control arm as I can get. That way I got enough room for my shock to miss my rack, to miss the bag, and to miss the tie rod whenever we're turning. So with all that playing, this is how we're gonna do it. I've never mounted the shock in front of the bag before. It's always standard. It's just right behind it, off the side of the control arm. Another cool factor is just the offset of the upper control arm. Doesn't have to be centered. You know, geometry doesn't know anything, and it just knows its points. That's it. So you can do whatever you want, just whatever the application calls for, really. That looks swell. I'm gonna tag it. You know what? I'm gonna assemble all of this first, instead of guessing. Nice. I don't like guessing. You know, going around the alternator and missing the headers is gonna be beneficial later on for us, and it looks cool, so it's a little bit different than the last one that we've done, and doing something new is always better than doing the same repetition over and over and over. I'm gonna go give him to Jesse. Watch out for that bullhorn. I used to work at a pipe shop, and whenever it would rain and thunder like real bad, they would make us shut down. Like we couldn't weld or like operate any machine. Like 20 years before I worked there, they said that there was a real bad thunderstorm, and the building like got struck by lightning, and it fried like $200,000 worth of equipment or something. So the brothers were like, if it ever rains ever again, like we're never gonna work. All right, cool. So now we have everything built for the driver's side of this truck. Got lower control arms done, upper control arms, shocks, bag brackets, everything. It's just always cool being able to, you know, not have to do the same exact thing. We've done thousands of suspensions here, and very rarely are two the same. So being that this one had to go around so much stuff, I highly doubt I'll ever have to do this ever again. So that's the cool thing about custom, because it's always something new.
The 49 Ford is just a really big build for us. You know, it feels really good to be done with that front suspension. Now we can get on to the rear.
So today we're gonna mount rear airbags and the shocks. We can see exactly where our wheel's gonna be, where it's fully compressed and when it's at full droop, so we know exactly what we're working with and where everything is going to be whenever everything is said and done. So let's go clean some pipe. We'll talk about it when I come back with the clean pipe. Right now, so I clean this dang old pizzite. We're gonna put it right here. Do the thing-o, man. Thing-o's playing this dang old thing, man. Dang, man. All right, so after making my template, I decided to make this little piece, and I can make my metal piece just be small instead of going the full width of the control arm. We don't need to take up that whole entire space. We just need this corner of it, and it doesn't need to really be super reinforced and overkilled. So we're gonna make it simple. I can take it over to Jesse and have him cut it out on the table for me. I'm gonna put bins right there in the circle, so don't cut it for me. All right.
Alrighty.
2 of them.
Cheers.
Yeah, thank you. So that's good. We'll use this, so work out perfect. I'll duplicate it, make 2 of everything, and that way we can just do the other side when it's on camera. A lot. Everything's looking good, and we'll be on to the next step after that.
We're finishing up the custom suspension on the 49 Ford. So today is definitely a good day. It's one more thing checked off on that giant checklist. The bed's just beyond repair. So next up, we need to completely build the bed floor and bed from scratch. It's gonna take a lot of metal work. Then it's body, paint, and of course, one-of-one interior. You know, we put a lot of sweat equity into ground-up builds like this. But I know once it's done, it's gonna be worth every penny and then some.
Oh, yeah. Rear suspension's done now. I think now all the suspension on the whole truck is done. So now we can focus on getting this bed off and getting a new one built and put on and keep on keeping on.
You know, I didn't want to attempt to break the world record for the most donuts in a stock-looking 23 Mustang, so I had to get it wrapped. Plus, it adds some protection for the paint. One thing I learned from the test run, the car just didn't have enough power. So we're gonna add a Pro Charger for that extra power that I need.
We added a cold air intake, tried it out, and once the tires started warming up, it wasn't cutting it. Thinking it was gonna be enough power, but it just wasn't there. So we went ahead, we pulled the cold air intake out. We're gonna install a Stage 2 Pro Charger kit. We're gonna add about 315 horsepower, so no matter how sticky those tires get, the thing's gonna have so much more power than it has now that he's definitely gonna accomplish the goal for the record. So the first step's gonna be start disassembling everything. We're gonna pull the front bumper cover off to make room for the intercooler, and a couple things off the motor. The coolant reservoir is gonna get changed just to make room for everything, and that's where we're gonna start. We got the expansion tank removed and the sway bar removed so we can make room to get our drive pulley for the Pro Charger installed. So the drive pulley mounts to the factory crankshaft pulley. There's a belt that goes from here to the Pro Charger. This is what drives it. I'm gonna go ahead and install this, and then we're gonna continue on and mount the Pro Charger and get moving along. The bracket for the Pro Charger will be next. These brackets right here get installed to pull the radiator closer to the core support to give us more clearance between the engine and the fans. We're gonna need as much as we can get, that's for sure. This is Pro Charger's P1X. It's a Stage 2, pretty good size blower. And essentially all it does is the crankshaft pulley we installed earlier, the belt will route to this and it'll drive this, which this will suck air in and create boost and force more air into the motor. And that's where we get the power from. The reason we add oil into it, because there's gears inside this. They're spinning at such a high RPM, they'd heat up without the oil, so the oil keeps them lubricated. And without it, they'd go so far and then just lock up. Now we mount the power. So now we're gonna go ahead and connect the Pro Charger to the motor with the 8-rib belt. Almost there. Got it. So this is our intercooler we're gonna mount right here behind the bumper. So what this does is, as the Pro Charger produces airflow it travels through the intercooler and air runs through it to cool the air down. And that cooled air is what gets put into the motor. The cooler the air, the better the motor runs. All right, so now we got our intercooler installed, our Pro chargers installed, pulleys and belt, everything's good to go there. But now we're gonna start doing all our plumbing, which is our air inlet side and outlet side that goes to the intake. So now our expansion tank is in, which was the last piece of the puzzle for our Stage 2 Pro Charger kit. So now we're gonna go ahead and button everything up, radiator cover, front bumper on, and see what kind of power this thing will make. Watch Bill set some records.
So a special thing happens when Bill gets the keys and gets behind the wheel some. You know, something clicks in his head and says, I need to go and see how far this car's gonna go.
Yeah.
We've seen so many donuts out there, so many roller burnouts. Who does that?
Yeah, that's
Bill
right.
Carlton.
Yeah, dude, he buys like a brand new dually and you think he's gonna, baby it, but no, he's out like driving sideways in the ditch. Like, you think it's gonna roll over and he's like, nah, man, it's good, we're good.
That's where his happy place is, it seems like.
He's got it down. He's been driving for a long time. I mean, he's been acting a fool for a long time too, so he's learned all the tricks of the trade, but hands down, one of the best drivers I've ever ridden with.
I can say the same exact thing. He's just one of a kind, man.
Yeah.
And getting behind a car with him, man, you can't not smile. I mean, you're gonna be scared, but at the end, you're like, oh, yeah, that was pretty cool.
It was so much fun. Yeah.
I've already done this before, so we just gotta do it in a circle.
Yes, sir.
I've never tried to set a world record before, never tried to break a record like this. So I'm gonna give this one more attempt to make sure everything is 100% right.
We gotta measure 23 and 5/8 all the way around.
See, so now we're gonna be off by an 1/8 inch.
What do you mean?
Because he keeps moving.
You're slow.
Golly, it does not look like a lot of space.
I know, that's what I'm saying,
That does not look like a
too.
lot. 280 times?
I mean, we just did 100 last time.
What was that like?
Very nauseous.
Oh, look, here it comes. Oh, man. That thing is gorgeous. Oh, my goodness. I've seen a stock 5.0. This is definitely not it. My dad's done a lot of work to it, and it's badass.
What do y'all think?
Oh, my goodness.
A lot
This thing is
different than I
gorgeous.
remember.
Yeah, man, we changed it up a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't just have just old stock car if we're gonna attempt a world record, right?
I don't think you could do that in a stock car.
Right, well, we ain't gotta worry about it anymore because it's definitely not stock.
Guess not.
Breaking a world record, you can't have a stock car. Of course, we had to hook the car up. The first thing you got to do to make a car look good is getting that stance right. It sets the attitude for the car.
It sounds pretty mean. What'd you do the exhaust?
Yeah, it's all new exhaust, all stainless, sounds good, looks good, and it's gonna get that exhaust out quick.
Oh, yeah.
That throaty sound, the mean sound, that's exactly what we want. We're gonna be doing a lot of circles, so we want it to sound real well too. We had to make it lower, right? So had to change out the coil springs. With the shorter ones, get that low stance.
It looks so much more aggressive now, too.
And we had to top it off with the wrap.
The wrap is so pretty. Seeing that wrap and everybody involved along with that design is going to look incredible when he officially beats a world record.
Trick Motorsports got it all hooked up, looking good.
It looks gorgeous.
Representing my shop and everybody that's helped out. So, of course, the wrap has to be on point. Anybody that's going to look up the world record is going to see this car and see what it's all about. One of the most important things of this is the tires. To be able to go around this circle, hopefully like 300 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what we're shooting for. Tires are what this competition is going to be all about. This record is going to be based upon, the right tire compound, different tire pressure, keeping it in first gear, trying to get those RPMs as low as possible to not just blowing the tires totally off, smoking them, throwing off too much rubber at one time. We want to minimize that and make those tires last as long as possible.
Since we already did the 100, I really think you can do it. It's pretty easy the first time.
Well, I definitely learned a couple of things since we were out here last. Once we did like 60 or 70 last time, the car had to be floored all the way around. It, you know, it had an air intake on it, but it just needed a little bit more power. I mean, that circle gets a little sticky, you know, once you go around that many times. So Pro Charger stepped up, we gave them a call, and it's got plenty of power right now.
Oh, yeah. So today you're gonna try to do 280?
I'm gonna beat 280. You know, the record in donuts in a car is 280. So the attempt today is to beat that. You know, next week we're gonna do it officially. So I wanna give it one more go around just to see how many we can do today, right?
Make sure you can do it.
So Corbin, you were with me last time.
Yeah.
Presley, you come with me this time. You guys be the outside counters so we make sure we get this an accurate count.
Sounds good.
Man, I see you got the circle set up. It's looking good. Thank you. Y'all good?
Yes, sir.
All right, girl, come on. Of course, the car being set up perfectly is one of the main things to break this record, but I think the most important thing is gonna be mental. If you lose focus for 1 second, bam, you're outside of the circle, contest is over. All right, we'll see what happens.
Trying to keep the RPMs down to keep the longevity of the tires.
At 60.
You know, going around in all these circles, of course, you're getting dizzy, but you gotta stay focused. You can't pay attention to anything around you. You're just paying attention to the cone right in front of you that you're going around on and listening to RPMs. That's pretty much every thought that's in your brain.
90.
And spinning around in the car is no joke. When you're going for that long, I've never been so nauseous in my entire life, but it takes some sort of almost like athletic ability to get you to be able to focus and do donuts for that long. It takes a lot of concentration.
And I'm getting a little ways away.
Well, everything's going good. It's super smooth. I'm dialed in till all of a sudden, just that little bit of lapse of concentration. Bumped the cone, knew I hit it. Would have been disqualification if this would have been a real record-breaking attempt. Since I already hit the cone, decided to go ahead and have a little bit of fun with it. After having a little bit of fun, the car got a little hot. It's making a lot of power now, so there's a delicate balance of how to make this work and how to really break that record. You know, today I learned a valuable lesson of focus, of keeping that car right where it's supposed to be and not having your mind wander. Next time, we're bringing everybody together. We're gonna make this happen. I know we're gonna bring this world record right here to Texas.